Hello. Bloody freezing today. Trying to sort of take the dog for a walk over a ploughed field. This ain't the worst bit. I'm going to just tell you a few anecdotes today, if that's all right. The first one is about when I was a teenager. Maureen was the prettiest girl I'd ever seen. She was really nice too, and even though she looked like a goddess, she didn't seem to realise it, unlike a lot of girls I knew. She was easy to talk to and always with a smile on her really lovely face. We were courting, Maureen and I. Well, I say courting, what I mean is we had dated a couple of times and I wished we were courting. I was proud to be seen holding her hand. I knew my mates thought I was a really lucky so-and-so. We were both about 18 years old. At the time I was working on the ferry service between Aberdeen, Orkney and the Shetland Isles. So I was often in Aberdeen where she lived. We had arranged to go to a dance hall in Aberdeen. I couldn't dance to save my life, but it was a good way to spend some time holding her close. Oh my word, she smelt lovely. And the softness of her hair against my cheek. I used to think I'd died and gone to heaven. She really was lovely. There was a German warship in the harbour. The city council had put the flags out for them. They were given a civic reception. I think it was the first time since the Second World War that a German Navy vessel had visited. The newspapers were full of it. Blimey, it wasn't so long ago. It wasn't so long ago that I spent my time shooting Germans. Only in childish games, of course. I didn't mean it for real. That was my dad's job. When the delectable Maureen and I arrived at the dance hall, it was full of young German sailors in their fancy uniforms. Us local lads didn't really stand much of a chance. A well-scrubbed young sailor approached our table. He stood before Maureen and bowed and asked her politely, in broken English, if he might have a dance. What a dork, he bowed. Oh dear. I wouldn't have felt so annoyed about it perhaps if she had looked to me first, but it was suddenly as if I didn't exist. Maureen was up and swept away in his arms. He could fucking dance too. I expect he'd had dancing lessons, a swine. Schweinhund. After she had danced with him several times in a row, I was in despair. I should have challenged him to a duel, but I expect he would have been brilliant at that too. I wasn't the only one upset that night. The local girls were having a ball. The local lads were having a ball. Anyone would have thought the Germans had won the bloody war. That was it with me and Maureen. We didn't go out anymore. But I soon recovered. After all, I was a sailor too. I had a girl in every port. Shetlands and the Orkney Islands. Although that may have been wishful thinking. No, it wasn't. I did have girlfriends there. I don't know why I said that. Apparently, why the girls were so bowled over by the Germans was because they were so well mannered. Bloody nerve of it. Maureen, I forgive you. But how could you do it? Had you forgotten that they bombed our fish and chip shop? Not to worry, I'm over it, almost. There goes another empty train. It's nice that they keep running, isn't it? Must cost a fortune in electric though. Back in the warm, well, sort of warm. I've just lit the fire. It's not that warm yet. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, years ago, an old fireman said to me, he said, and I'll never forget it. He said, "Lad," he said, "never piss on an electric fence." Do you know what? I think that bit of advice is as relevant today as it was back then. If I'd been around in Admiral Nelson's time, I would have been above average height. I could have looked down on people. In a nice way, of course. I could have contacted all those women on dating sites who only want to meet tall men. Not that I would have. Fussy cows. Being above average height, I would have had to bend down to kiss a woman. Unless we were lying down at the time, that is. But I'm talking about when you're meeting for the first time. Although even then, I have had my moments. I like to kiss a woman of my own height though, standing up, because you can get a real good snog going. And of course the cuddling has a nice bit of bounce to it too. That millionaire bloke, Bernie Eccleston, is very small, but he does all right with the ladies. I often wonder how he does it. And look at Paul Daniels, the magician. Ever so short, and yet he pulled the lovely Debbie McGee. No problem there. What do you think it was that first attracted her to the millionaire magic man? I like being a short man. I've got a low centre of gravity. That's why I'm such a good dancer and can throw some really good shapes. Oh, I don't do dating sites, by the way, anymore. Don't do dating at all. I gave it up when my Cuban heeled boots started having a bad effect on my posture. Good morning, Mrs. Picasso. What are you cooking the great man for his breakfast? He is having a lightly boiled egg and a slice of toast. Good Lord. A lightly boiled egg and a slice of toast? For Picasso? Arguably the world's greatest artist, possibly the most important figure of 20th century art, an artistic genius. Picasso, the painter, sculptor, printmaker, ceramicist and poet. Picasso, the man who has impacted the development of modern and contemporary art with unparalleled magnitude. A lightly boiled egg and a slice of toast? He is just a man like any other. Forgive me, Mrs. Picasso, but I beg to differ. Yes, you and him both, but he's still only having a lightly boiled egg and a slice of toast for his breakfast. Where did it come from? I don't know. Years ago, when I was a young man, I walked into a cafe one day and there at a table a young woman sat breastfeeding her baby. I'd never seen such a thing before, and to be honest I was slightly taken aback, and although I tried to appear nonchalant, I must say I did feel slightly embarrassed. I was born halfway through the last century. Yeah, I know, you can't believe it, can you? I look so young. Times were different then as regards to behaviour in public. It must be difficult for young people today in these enlightened times to comprehend some of us old uns' attitudes to lots of things that are now commonplace. The changes that we older people have undergone in our lifetime are myriad. Myriad. That's a bloody good word, isn't it? I don't know what it means, but it sounds right. Yeah, anyway. Dare I say that my generation have seen more change in our lifetimes than many generations before us, and we have had to adjust to those changes accordingly. Things we could say and words we used have changed so much. It's no wonder that we make mistakes. We have to be so careful and try not to offend simply by doing and saying things we were brought up with and which were normal to us. Personally, I don't think it is ridiculous to feel embarrassed in the presence of a lady breastfeeding. That said, I do think that embarrassment is a perfectly natural feeling. Of course, being a modern thinking man, I see nothing wrong with breastfeeding in public these days. That day when I walked into the cafe many years ago, I couldn't see anything anyway because the baby's head was in the way. By the time I found a better viewpoint, the baby was asleep and the tits had been put away. Really annoying. Anyway, I think that's enough anecdotes for today. I don't want to run out of material. Happy New Year. See you soon. I hope I do anyway. Bye. Take care now.